Hi, and welcome to the Mormon Meat Locker.
I'm your host, Caroline Kingsley, along with Cable the Party Jenkins, and we have our guest, Carrie Ann Rasmussen, with us.
Hi.
And we have been hearing a lot of chatter about the 46 plus demographic and the lack of wards, maybe some activities, and so we really wanted to address this. And do you want to introduce yourself, Carrie?
Well, I'm Carrie, and I've been in the single life or around it for the last 4 years. First time was getting divorced. I was 44. 6 months later, turned 45. Special interests. Totally went about dating a different way then. I became a serial dater online, 3 different sites. Um, it got embarrassing, and it was very time-consuming. I don't know. It just was took a lot of emotional toll. Got married and was thrown back into the single life when my husband died a year ago. And this time I decided I was going to do it completely and totally different, and have been doing some research and found out that these social activities that the mid-singles, and I say mid-singles because I think I'm one of them, but the younger group, the 25 to 45 range, have it together. You guys have done your research. You guys have done some things that have worked. And so I thought, well, there's got to be something that cutoff can't just be all definite. It's 45 to dead, and I'm far from being dead. And there are lots of people in my same boat that would like to see something happen a little bit differently for maybe overlapping age groups, or just we're all sick of the internet dating stuff too, and would like some more natural interaction and meeting people that way. And so far, I've absolutely loved the groups and things that I've been a part of, and I just want to see what we can do about maybe overlapping and what other people feel about it. Maybe I'm the only one. Maybe I'm just weird, but there's been enough people that I've talked to that I know there's a need, and I'm just not sure how to go about it all myself yet. But
I think part of the challenge. There's a couple different issues here. I think is one, we don't have too much control over what wards are formed, but there
exactly.
isn't. There's a young single adult ward, of course, or wards that people age out at 31, and then you can go into mid singles, and then there's an age out at 45, and then chirp chirp. There's no other option after that, and then there's no delineation as you mentioned. It's 40,
45
46,
to death.
right?
Yeah.
To,
Well,
to death.
you're 45. You become social the special interest then
Okay,
at
special
45.
interest. With just the title, special interest,
Yeah,
not
I got
great.
a letter and everything welcoming me into that group. It was
But I
very
think the other part of that is activities, and I know Cable and I have discussed before. We get approached quite a bit about, why aren't we more inclusive when we do activities and events of any age group, and what are we going to be doing for the 45 plus then group? And I think that it's fair to have age groups. There's my cat. It's fair to have. I think that it's fair to have age groups because then you can socialize and date within, some proximity of your own age. And I think that if, like you said, I think there is a leadership that is a strong leadership that's emerged among mid singles, but maybe
mm-hmm.
not as much or past that. But that doesn't mean that can't happen, and people can go ahead and throw events and activities and do everything that's been happening in the mid singles and the young single world.
Exactly. I don't feel like you guys or anybody that has done this for the mid singles in that age group should be responsible for us older people, really. And I say older. I'm 48, if that's older. Um, but I do think that there should be a little bit ish. I think it was Cable that said ish, 40-ish to 55-ish or 50-ish. I like that. I have a good friend. He's 39. He married a little bit older woman and raised a child, sent him off into the military, and is now finding himself single, and he doesn't fit into the mentality, the emotional, and the intellectual aspect of the 35 to 45-year-olds. He's kind of more a little bit olderish in that he's finding. I mean, everybody's going to have issues. There's going to be exceptions to every rule, and there's going to be problems faced all over the place. But what he's finding is the people that his age group, they're all little kids. They all have smaller children, or they've never been married, and he's not necessarily looking to start, having more children himself, or maybe raise just tiny ones. And once you get past that, that is kind of a factor.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Well, and I love the ish too. I love the ish. I get along great with you and a lot of different people in the special interest group, as well as being single adult as well. And so, I don't know if those should be, heavy lines, but I don't know necessarily what the answers are as far as wards go. And Cable or Carrie Ann, do you know, have you been hearing anything as for why they're not forming wards? 45 plus?
They're getting some problems, I think, in attendance. I was talking with a couple offices today, or not today, but on Monday, and then last week I had talked with Elder Christofferson's secretary, trying to get a little bit better knowledge, so that I could actually answer those questions really honestly and intellectually backed. But I don't have that. And until I get the meeting with him and actually talk to him and ask the questions of why are they doing this, because I know that the Alpine ward kind of said everybody 45 and up needs to go to a family ward or wherever they're doing them. And then there's lots of people that are now not going to go to church, or they're really upset, or they're questioning this or that. I think that's kind of sad. I'm sure there are issues, and everybody's got them. I send out a survey to 52 men and 38 women, both in both age groups. I got 37 of the men to answer. I got 8 of the women to answer, but the women are angry. So it's very funny, they've all got their issues. Women are very emotional. In fact, I will tell you firsthand, we're crazy. We get in our heads and we rearrange the furniture, and then we really bitch and moan about not having a place to sit down. And it's our own fault. We need to just be a little more relaxed, a little more easygoing in some of the things that we think. But there are creepers. And I encountered a couple of them in some of these surveys that I got back. I went, whoa, I would have never thought. Most of the men don't look at the date or the age thing. They could care less if it's a posted age and says, from 35 to 45 or whatever. They could care less. If they're 50, they're going to go. So I found a lot of the men have that mentality. Women, they shy away from anything that's not even close to their age. They don't want to compete with bikini bodies, and the ones that have never been married, or the ones that have never had children, or the ones that are just so much younger. And men, let's face it, can date a little bit younger, but so can women. There's a neat couple, and you guys know who they are. She's turning 50, and he is 43. I know another couple, she's 48, and he's 42. Another couple, 51, and he's 44. Now they can't go to church together? Or when were they going to meet if they didn't cross those lines? So, I don't know. I don't know what the definite answer is, but I think the reason they're not doing these ward things is because we don't have the backing to have a whole ward, and it's not as, and this is my own thoughts and my own opinions, but I think that there just isn't an outcry of enough of my age group saying we need this, whereas they're trying to marry off the younger ones, or the ones that have small families and need to keep a family unit together. My baby is 17. He'll be 18 next month. That's my baby, and then he'll be gone on a mission in 6 months. I'll be an empty nester. My needs, or my family needs, are not as great as those that have younger children at home, that need the family unit together and those kind of things. And I think that might be what the church is looking at. But like I said, that's gospel according to Carrie. That's nothing that has been stated by anybody that has any authority. But I think it's because there isn't a big enough outcry. I think there isn't enough of us speaking out and opinionated like me that will just say, okay, let's get involved, let's do something about it. And it wasn't until this summer on an activity with you guys that I got it in my head that maybe I can help and maybe I can do something. I'm not a complainer, and I won't complain that there isn't anything. I just need to do something about it, and want to know if there's enough interest. Want to know if there's enough people that will get in it with me and make these groups happen.
I feel like there is enough desire because I've heard about it from so many people, and people have been pretty vocal about it on our Facebook page. I think there is that, and maybe it's a matter of mobilizing that and talking to the right people. And I'm sure there are reasons for it, and I'd be interested in hearing and what those are. Maybe that's something that we can do is bring someone on that's.
Well, as soon as I get Elder Kirstofferson's secretary, she was going to look into some other people that I could talk to and find out the best way to go about this. But like I said, we got moved up a week, and so I didn't get all of that in place. But at the minute that I have that information, I'd be more than happy to share it. I think that knowledge is probably a really big factor in getting our opinions and getting all upset and everything. There might be just something really poignant in making that happen and having the 45s go somewhere else.
Sure. Well, and I think that I know for me, I like going to a family ward. It's nice. I go when I have my kids, the weeks I have my kids. But I really enjoy going to the singles ward too. And I'm out in Heber, and so it's an hour drive. So I didn't do it for a long time. It's like, I meant to for a while check out the singles ward, and it's hard when there's a building 2 minutes away I can go to instead. But then I started going to the singles ward when I don't have the kids, and it is less alienating. It's a little bit depressing to sit in the family ward alone, surrounded by what appear to be happy families and getting these lessons on eternal marriage, which I absolutely believe in, but also sort of failed in. And so there's so many emotions in there. And it's so great to go to a singles ward where you're surrounded by these beautiful, talented, intelligent people and realize
you're not alone.
It's not a feeling, because all these amazing people are in the same boat. And it's heartwarming, and you hear in the music when people sing and the talks and the testimonies, and realize you're in amazing company, and of course be able to build those connections up where now my friends here, you guys have become family to me, and I think that those connections are so important. And there's a part of me that kind of wonders, and so I would like that. I would love to, for everyone to be able to have that experience. But I kind of wonder too, as I've looked around at this leadership that has come up within the singles community, and I look at how God tends to let us answer our own blessings, answer each other's blessing, or prayers, I should say. And I wonder if he kind of wants to not step back. I think he's very much involved in coordinating things and putting us into each other's lives. But I wonder if he wants us to rise up and build these resources for ourselves. And again, it's a separate issue with wards, because we can't just go start a ward, to my knowledge.
Well, it depends on what church you belong to.
Probably not for our church. But as far as the other stuff goes, I do feel like I don't feel like we're losing out at all if we're going to these different trips, retreats, activities, the bowling nights, the PAL trips. I don't think that because it's not church sponsored, it's any less of an amazing experience in meeting these amazing people. And so I think I kind of wonder if God's purpose is also for us to serve each other in this capacity.
I think you're absolutely right. Just the service project that we did, the care cuts, just the camaraderie and the companionship that was developed, and the friendships, and I mean, it's just amazing. Social media is here. And I loved that President Kimball was so into it, and President Hinckley even really started the whole age of the church getting involved in it. And I think that it's here for us to use and to benefit us as well. And anything in excess and anything can be a detriment. I mean, good grief, food can be a detriment, and yet we need it to survive. But these activities, they give us a little more natural way of meeting people and developing friendships and developing relationships, if that's how far it's going to go. We don't go to school anymore. and have our classes and the cute kid that sits 3 rows up and stuff. We don't see that anymore. We don't go to the school dances and get asked to the prom and those kinds of things. So kind of having to develop an environment where those things can happen naturally. I mean, the online thing, it's got its place, but I'll tell you what, it's time consuming. It's emotionally draining. It's embarrassing to tell you how much I dated before, and I just don't even want to go there. I have no desire. I date as much as I want to right now, and I'm developing myself. I mean, we're a great age, really. I love being 48. I love knowing what I know. I love being able to do what I'm doing. And with my children almost grown, we get to reinvent ourselves, and I hate that word, but we get to better ourselves. We get to evolve. And I think this is just one of the ways that we just might be evolving, is to actually have our own things and activities and socialize the way we need to. I think it's almost mandatory as a human being to socialize.
Well, and I think that as awful as it is in many ways to be single, there's not a better time to be, because there's so many resources and we can just keep developing more, and it is uneven in the age ranges right now, but there's these opportunities for dancing and learning, and like you say, building these friendships. And since I joined the single scene, LDS single scene last fall, I've started cliff jumping and country dancing, and also river rafting and stuff like I never would have thought to do. But now I have these opportunities, and I think that just because I'm single doesn't mean I have to just sit at home and pet the cat that is grooming herself and be bored and lonely. There's no reason to be. That we're supposed to always be increasing. We're always supposed to be bettering ourselves, and it's sort of a shame to I guess play dead because we're single and we're in a situation that we never had anticipated or wanted. But yeah, I don't know any way that we can mobilize each other to develop those resources more and encourage people to take advantage of those resources.
Well, there's so many groups available, just tons.
Here's the thing. Let me talk for a second. We do all these activities. I do a lot of activities, and the age thing is imperative, because there's different activities for different ages that different people like to do. And for instance, at my cable club, I say 25 to 45-ish. There's that word. Because you know what? If you're 50, but you feel comfortable around a younger crowd, and you like our music and you want to come, great. But I have people come and they ask me to turn the lights up and to play more slow songs and things like that. And I just say, sorry, but we're not going to do that. This is a certain activity. It's run a certain way. And we put the age, not restrictions, but guidelines on there, because we know that people in those ages are going to enjoy this activity a lot more than the people in the 45 to 55. See, when we start having a lot of those people come, they're the ones who start asking all these requests, turn the music down, play more slow songs, things like this, and that's not what that activity is intended for. So for that reason, and that's why I say ish, is because if you like that activity and you feel comfortable there with those people, knowing that the people within those age brackets are going to be there, not only that you feel comfortable, but they feel comfortable with you being there, then by all means come, because it's by no means a hard, fast line. And the reality is the majority of my activities don't really have age guidelines. My movie nights, my bowling, all that stuff that I do, everyone's welcome to come. Anyone who wants to is welcome. I encourage everyone to come and to join us and to come and have a good time. But there are certain activities that are geared towards certain ages, and so we put those guidelines on there. We try to, kind of narrow it down, because those are activities. A dance is more of an activity of where you're maybe going to meet somebody and not necessarily be on a date, but, you know, get kind of close and intimate with someone. So it's better for them to be more within your age range. And so that's the reason we do that. And I do get a lot of people coming to me and saying, why isn't there anything for people in the upper age ranges? I simply say, well, I'm not in that age range. So for me, there's not a lot of incentive to create those activities. And the reason why the mid-singles is organized as well as it is simply because people have stepped up and made it happen.
Yeah.
And the older crowd, nobody's done that. No one has stepped up and made activities. It'd be very easy for people to put trips together, create dances, do all that kind of stuff, and gear it towards the older people. And then you can gear, you know, if it's a dance, you can gear the music towards that. You can gear the lighting and all the other stuff that you want for the kind of activity that you want. But just nobody stepped up, and that's the one thing that's going to need to happen for this, what we're talking about to happen, is somebody's going to need to step up and take that role and just do it. Nobody's going to ask you to do it. Nobody's going to say, this is how you need to do it, come and do it. You just have to do it.
I'm just going to ask lots of questions, but I'm willing to do that for my age group. How's that, us older people?
And I'm happy to answer questions and show people how to do it, but unless somebody's willing to take that on, I'm not like going to message all these people and say, hey, would you want to do this? Would you want to do this? Because unless someone's willing to do it and have the initiative and the drive to make it happen, I don't want to be bugging someone about it, but I'm more than happy to share expertise, and so are a lot of other people who have stepped up and done this for the mid-singles. More than happy to help and help people to create activities for different age groups, and, you know, share the expertise that we've learned through what we've done.
That's good to hear.
Keeble, have we gotten any questions this time?
No, I don't think so.
Chicken.
No, I haven't seen any questions.
They're all chicken.
Yeah, no, I just think, I think there's a good sized crowd there. I think, back to what you guys were talking about earlier, I don't think there's been enough interest for the older wards. You know, I think there's a lot more in the mid-singles age within the valley than there are in the older age, and so it just hasn't been a priority. But if enough people step up and say, this is what we want, talk to stake presidents, you know, if a bunch of, there's now these coordinating councils for mid-singles. Mm-hmm. There could just as easily be those for the older singles, but people need to step up and make sure their leaders know that that's what they want.
Exactly.
So perhaps on that front, if someone were to take the initiative to kind of start a campaign, if you will, to, you know, you could start a group, add people who fit within that age range, and just encourage people to talk to their bishops, their stake presidents, whoever, and just let them know that they want that, they're interested in that. You know, eventually it's not a quick process, but if people start talking about that, it's something that is a process, but will eventually happen. And eventually there could be wards for those people. The one concern that comes to me is because of the lack of numbers, it's like, could you create a ward in Salt Lake easily? But then is it a huge geographical ward?
Right.
Which makes it more difficult for attendance and things like that. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but I think the bottom line is to get the ball rolling right now, people just need to start talking about it. Start talking to leaders, things like that, and eventually it will happen.
That's good advice, and I think that I can start that, and I think I have with calling into the church offices. But you know what? There's tons of stuff to do. People just need to be aware of it. You know, like you had the grand opening today, and the sexy singles lunch for Corey was going on. Tomorrow there's 15 or 20 different activities. Saturday we've got the mustache dash and the homeless outreach and football game parties and dances, and there's plenty to do. People just need to quit whining, right, Cable? Quit whining and just, you know, if I go to a dance, there's a heck no, especially if I'm not the age group, am I going to ask to do something different than what's been set up? And those that do, well, okay, like you said, they should just go somewhere else. But as far as socializing, I'm fine with the younger group. As far as dating, you know, I'd like them a little older, a little more experienced there. But there is a need, and there is knowledge is probably the best thing. They just need to be aware of what's going on and how to go about it, and a little bit of tact too. If you're going to crash a party, you probably shouldn't be asking to change the dips. So.
Exactly. So there's a lot of opportunity out there, even within the mid singles, within every age group. There's a lot of opportunity to make things happen. If anyone has questions about that, if anyone wants to, you know, take from the things I've learned in doing it, there's other people too I know that would be happy to share their experiences. Just, you know, send me a message, comment in the group. You know, feel free, I'm sure, to message Carrie. I'm sure she'd love that too.
Absolutely.
To be able to, you know who else is out there that's interested in working on this and making it happen. So
yeah, there's no way I can do it all by myself, but if there are people to help, I'm more than willing to bring it on. So I thought I'd help keep marriages together. Now I just want to make them happen.
There you go. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us, Carrie Ann. I appreciate it. Like I said, there's a lot of us who are happy to help. So, you know, anyone who's watching, just feel free to reach out. Let us know, and we can definitely help, and we can make that happen. So, thanks for joining us, and thanks for all your thoughts and insights.
Bye, guys. Love you.
Bye, Carrie. Thank you so much.